Guys, thanks for watching again. I hope you've stuck around for all the videos. This is the last one in this series. Maybe making some more on this subject, but not particularly this area. I'm going to talk about things that were solved, either that happened to me or I read about that happened to other people, that really sounded strange. One time I read about this very unfortunate family that 3 members of their family committed suicide. They just lay down in front of a train and it ran over them. And each one of them had zero reason to commit suicide. None at all. None at all. And it was baffling. It was baffling. The first time it happened, young man, I think he was going to be married or something. So much to live for. They found him dead right at the entrance of this tunnel where the train comes out. No drugs in his body, no alcohol, nothing. Middle of the day, dead. A couple months later, his brother, they find him, same place. No reason to kill himself. None. Zero. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing. Like 2 years later, on the anniversary of the death of the first brother, another family member is dead right on the same spot. So this creeps everybody out. This creeps everybody out. So some scientists come to look. They can't find anything. One day, somebody's there and just trying to figure out, oh, it was a family member, because the people had given up. They could find no reason. There was a family member there, and he was standing at the entrance of the tunnel just when a train happened to be coming. And the lights were flashing, and there was really loud noise. And the guy said he started feeling dizzy, and then he blacked out. The next thing he woke up, and a train was coming right next to his head. So they have to put a big, huge sign at the mouth of that tunnel to stay the hell away, because there's acoustics and light that goes on when a train comes through that it disorients a person to such an extent that they'll black out. And if they're really unlucky, they'll fall in front of the train. So sometimes they're really hard to find, but there are logical reasons for really strange, paranormal, weird stuff that's going on. Here's one happened to me. It's not that weird, but it was strange, and it was potentially very harmful. I was with my stepfather weekend. He drank a lot on the weekend. He was fixing an old car. He was always fixing an old car. We're outside. There's nobody else out there. Nobody. Old car. He takes off the distributor cap, the rotor button. He's working on the timing. Always working on the timing. He goes to put it back together. He can't find the rotor button. He wants to know what I did with it. I didn't touch it. He asked me again, what did I do with it? I said, I didn't touch it. Now, he's looking on top of the car. Now we're down on the ground. We're looking under the car. It's still light. It's daytime. Now he's getting mad and mad. And now we're looking in the toolbox. Empty your pockets, empty your pockets. And like, he's getting ready to like tear his hair out. And like, we look under the car again. Now we know we didn't go inside the car, but we go inside the car anyway. It's not inside the car. It's not on top of the car. It's not under the car. It's on the front of the car. It's on the side of the car. It's not in the car. It's not in the distributor. It's not another part of the car. It's not like you took off the breather cap and for some reason you decided to put it inside the breather cap, then put it on top of the carburetor. It's freaking gone. Nobody else has been out there. It's my fault, for sure, because it's not his fault. Now, about 10 feet away is another car. We had a dog. He had dropped the rotor button on the ground. The dog picked up the rotor button, went over to the other car, got underneath and was chewing on it like a milk bone. So sometimes it's not ghost in the middle of the night to take stuff. Sometimes stuff happens. I was reading about, for years, people would talk about spontaneous combustion. They would go to an apartment where there was a fire, and they'd find people burnt. The rest of the house wasn't on fire, but they were sitting in a lazy boy watching TV. TV's still on, and 2/3 of their body is burnt to a crisp. So this freaked people out for years and years and years. Nobody knew what was going on. Spontaneous combustion. Then one day, somebody murdered some poor young girl and covered it up with leaves and tried to set it on fire. Some of the leaves burnt, and it started, and she had like a lot of fat, I guess, and the fat had a lot of grease, and then it started smoldering, and like a candle, like it was. She became like a candle. So like all where the fat was, it would just burn and smolder, and then just somebody put out the fire, realized what had happened, and then was able to put two and two together and realize this was the reason for spontaneous combustion. For years, you'd hear all these spooky stories about somebody's in the chair and the rest of the house is not on fire. And in order for this to happen, you would have had so much of a high temperature for that body to combust. And there was like all these different reasons why it was happening. No, it was just cigarette, then started a fire, started smoldering, and then the fat, and pretty soon it was a freaky, terrible thing. So that was a good reason. One time I was watching late night at that house I used to live in. That I saw the ghost, and was watching some horror movies, Alfred Hitchcock's thrillers and stuff. It was like really late at night, maybe early in the morning, and the back room was just a porch that had screens on three sides and roll up blinds and overhanging roof. Me and my three brothers lived out there before everybody moved away. And I remember sleeping in a bunk bed, and where the back roof met the wall of the house, there were some rats like gnawing and trying to make a hole to come in, and I'd be laying in bed and pieces of wood would be falling down on my bed. And really creepy place. But I was watching that horror movie, and it was kind of scary, like 1 o'clock in the morning. And if you look out, the screens is pitch black dark. You can't see a thing. And I'm walking past the screens, and I hear like something cutting the screens. I heard it again. Then I'm trying to focus, like what is cutting the screen is right there in front of me. And like, I need to see what it is. And like, I think I probably should have left, because if something is trying to cut the screen, you need to leave or go get something to make this stop happening. And then finally I was able to focus in what was making this noise right in front of me. There was a cat had climbed up on the screen and was clawing on the screen like this. It was a black cat. So like, yeah, that was kind of weird. I lived in this apartment, Banyan Bay, nice apartment over on Biscayne Bay. And I came home from work. I opened the door. My apartment is full of flies. And when I mean full, there's hundreds and hundreds. It's an air-conditioned apartment. All the windows are shut. It's a clean apartment. It's a modern apartment. White tiles, white floors, nice furniture. Thousands of flies in my apartment. So I open all the doors and windows and get fly flutter, and it takes me a while before they're all gone. The only thing I could think of either was like the sign of the beast, or I'm like 4 stories up. 3rd story, 2nd story. On the first ground floor is a big opening. Inside that opening is the dumpster. In the apartment, there's a chute. You throw everything down the trash, goes in that dumpster. People would, the trash chute was right outside my door for my apartment. So people were throwing stuff down the trash chute. There must have been meat or something thrown down there, and maybe they didn't pick up for a long time. And so flies had left larvae, and they must have been there long enough for them to hatch, which is a long time. And they didn't fly right away because they're brand new flies. So they started crawling up the wall, thousands of them. And as they got to my window, my screen was cracked just a little bit. And so they were able to go up the wall and maybe go through the crack, then go into the window, then go into another part. But I never could figure out how they got through the other part of the window completely. But that was my best theory of why my house was full of literally thousands of flies. So this last one, it's not that creepy or weird. I probably should mention it, but I did one day see water go up instead of down. We had a hurricane, Hurricane Andrew, and after it passed over, the wind had calmed down, but it was still kind of high. And I was looking at my window, and there was raindrops, and I noticed to the side of me, because I didn't have any screens, I took my head out the window, and I noticed to the side there was like a little abutment on the side of the wall, and it went up, and there was drops of water going up. The only thing I could think of is the wind had been blowing for so long, maybe it made like a static electricity charge, and the wind currents maybe were funneling it to go up anyway. And with that charge, it wasn't being connected to the wall, like it was bouncing it off or something somehow, but there were little drops of water going straight up. That was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. It's not maybe paranormal or a ghost, but certainly unusual, something I've never heard anybody see before. So guys, this has been an interesting series. I may make some more by interviewing some other people who have seen some things and talk to them. I'd like to find my friend who saw that UFO. That would be a good story. He saw it down at near Homestead Air Force Base. A wonderful story. Really strange, and some things happened that was really crucial to the story that people will be interested to hear. If you like this and the other ones, I hope you watch the other ones and leave some comments. Constructive. And hope you learn something from it and you educate me. And good luck. All right, guys. See you out there.